The Unseen War. Mastering the mental game of trading. Hello friends. Let's talk about the two battles every single trader fights. The first is the one you see on the chart. The candles, the indicators, the entries and exits. It's a battle of strategy, of analysis, of logic. But the second battle is far more dangerous. It is the one that rages silently, invisibly within the corridors of your own mind. This is the war that remains unseen. It asks the fear that drags you to the exit button just before a trade reaches its full logical profit potential. It's the greed that violently forces you to betray the very trading plan you meticulously crafted. It's the anger that sweeps you away in a tidal wave of emotion, transforming a winning trade into a devastating loss. And it's the self-doubt that leads you to the very threshold of victory, only to pull you back at the final moment. This right here is the true battlefield. And the book we read discussing the mental game of trading is not a normal book. It is not a collection of motivational platitudes. It is a precise, systematic mind reprogramming protocol authored by Jared Tendler. He is a mental game coach who has redesigned the minds of everyone from poker champions to Wall Street's elite professional traders. And now that very same system is in your hands. But a word of caution, my friends. This is not an easy journey. This book contains 10 profound psychological levels, 10 critical mental thresholds that most traders aren't even aware exist. Each point is a key that unlocks the next. If you miss even a single one, you will fail to open the door that can transform you from an average trader into a master trader with a millionaire's mindset. So put on your headphones. Listen with absolute focus, because this is not just an audio. This has the potential to fundamentally alter not just your thinking, not just your trading, but your very destiny. Without further delay, let us begin. Welcome to the mental game of trading, where the war is not just about money, but about mindset, patience, and self-control. Part 1. The Foundation Emotional Awareness. Jared Tendler's first principle is brutally simple. If you cannot identify your emotions, you will never achieve self-control in trading. Listen carefully. Trading does not happen solely on the screen. The real trade unfolds within you. How many times have you told yourself, this time I will be disciplined? I will set my stop loss. I will not overtrade. But what happens the moment a trade is live? Your heart rate accelerates. A profit appears and you're gripped by the fear that it might vanish. A loss occurs and a surge of anger follows. And then comes that next trade, the revenge trade. But have you ever stopped to ask, where does this all begin? From where do these demons of fear, anger, and greed emerge? The critical question is, do you actually recognize your emotions? This is not motivational nonsense. This is Jared Tendler's first and perhaps most vital principle. Trades are not lost because of what is visible on the chart. Accounts are decimated by what is felt internally. Every time you open a trade, an emotional reaction is preloaded, standing ready. It's watching you, waiting for a single trigger. The trade touches your stop loss and you feel shattered inside. The trade shows a small profit and you exit prematurely. Everything was according to plan, but you failed to trust yourself. What happened here was not a technical failure. It was an emotional collapse. The question is not whether emotions will arise. The question is, can you catch them? Emotional awareness means you know when fear is present, you recognize what triggers your anger. You understand the specific situations where greed envelops you. Awareness means you are observing yourself without judgment. A trader fails the moment he proclaims, I don't feel fear. I am completely calm. I never get angry. This, my friend, is the greatest error of all. Suppressing emotions is like hiding gunpowder in your mind. If it doesn't explode today, it will tomorrow. And when it does, it won't just take a 2% slice of your capital. It will obliterate your entire account. So what is the solution? Jared Tendler instructs. Don't try to eliminate your emotions. Observe them. Understand them. Catch them. When you trade, maintain an emotional journal. Before entering a trade, ask yourself, am I nervous? Am I restless? Am I forcing this trade? Am I trying to prove that I am right? Then write it down. At the end of the day, review which emotions keep recurring. Emotional patterns will reveal themselves, but only if you have the courage to look for them. Now imagine this. If you know that anger arises after your stop loss is hit 3 times in a row, you will be alert before that anger takes over next time. And that very awareness is what transforms you from a reactive amateur into a controlled master. But wait, you might say, okay, I've identified the emotion. Now what? The story does not end here. Because once you begin to understand your emotions, a day will come when you know everything, yet you still cannot stop yourself. Your brain screams, don't enter. But your hand almost autonomously clicks the button. You tell yourself the risk is too high, but you take the trade anyway. And this is the entry point for the next and one of the most dangerous psychological monsters, tilt. Part 2. The storm, understanding and conquering tilt. This is where mere emotional awareness ceases to be enough, because now it's not just an emotion, it's a storm of patterned self-destruction. So the first door has opened. You have started to recognize your emotions, but now you must become cunning, for the next enemy is supremely insidious. Its name is tilt. Yes, that same tilt that is neither visible nor audible. It simply arrives and deposits all your hard work straight into a washing machine of chaos. Jared Tendler defines tilt as any mental or emotional state that causes you to trade in a way that is inconsistent with your strategy. In simpler terms, tilt is that moment when you tear up the rules you created, burn them before your own eyes, and then proceed to trade on the ashes. Tilt often arrives after a stop loss is hit and you think, that's it, I can't take this anymore. This market is deliberately mocking me. And then you draw your weapon, you take trade after trade after trade after trade until the chart is bleeding red or your account is empty. But tilt doesn't only come from anger, my friends. Sometimes it arrives wearing a friendly disguise. Come on, man, let's get a little revenge, or just let this one trade work out and I'll follow the system after I promise. Or I've been sitting here for so long, I deserve at least one trade, right? These are all the cousin brothers of tilt slowly driving you insane. Tilt's greatest trick is that when it descends upon you, you feel like you are in absolute control. Outwardly you might be in Zen mode, but inwardly lava is boiling. The tragedy is that the temperature of this lava is only measurable by the evaporation of your capital. You only realize you were on tilt after the money is gone, while you were engaged in a steering wheel contest with the screen, wondering, where did my brain go? Now, can anyone stop tilt from arriving? The honest truth is no, but catching it, identifying it, and defeating it, that is where the real game begins. Jared Tendler says, tilt is not your enemy. Ignoring it is. This means you must not hide from tilt, you must note it. You need to create a tilt tracker. Open a small diary or a notes app, and every time you feel frustration, anger, FOMO, or ego flaring up, write down what triggered it, what you thought, and what you did. This is not just a journal, it is an MRI scan of your trading soul. It will show you that you get trapped in the same pattern repeatedly, and that is the starting point of true correction. A major identifier of tilt is the phrase, just one more trade. If this line echoes in your mind, know that you are already on tilt's treacherous swing, and you've just unbuckled your own seatbelt. Starting with just one more, countless traders have emptied their entire accounts without even realizing how. This is the zone where you forget your system and start trading from emotion. And in this game, the market will win every single time. Remember this, catching tilt requires awareness, not ego. Often we think, I'm a pro, I don't go on tilt. Well, my friend, that is precisely where tilt arrives first. The door is wide open. So the next time tilt approaches, look it in the eye and say, sit down, brother, I see you. The moment you begin to recognize it, your victory commences. Part 3. The silent saboteur, the curse of overconfidence. But wait, you've understood tilt, you've learned to shield yourself from its fire. Congratulations, you now belong to the 10% of traders who recognize their emotions. However, what comes next is even more dangerous than tilt. While tilt was an obvious enemy, this one arrives disguised as a friend, only to stab you in the back from within. Its name is overconfidence. Yes, that intoxicating narcotic of victory that makes you believe, I can do anything now. It is the dangerous lie your brain sells you after a win, and you happily buy it. Picture this, you've executed 2 or 3 brilliant trades. Targets are hit like arrows striking the bullseye. You feel like the rock star of trading. You silently salute yourself, and then a soft whisper emerges. Let's just increase the risk a little. You can handle it. And you say yes. This is overconfidence's first gentle tap. And then what happens? You start using smaller stop losses. You increase your risk. You begin taking trades outside your predefined setup. And most dangerously, you stop journaling. Why? Because you're in God mode now. You start to feel intrinsically where the market is headed, and that right there is the beginning of the downfall. Jared Tendler states, overconfidence is the brain's reward for short-term success. It is not real. It is not sustainable. It is an illusion. In simple terms, it is the false celebration of victory, and it is so sweet that you don't even suspect you are consuming poison. A classic scene of overconfidence: you take 3 trades in a day, all 3 are profitable. You now believe you are better than every other trader. You open YouTube, and before even skipping the ads, you think, these guys are all fools. I am the real deal. Then the next day the market delivers a slap so powerful that both the RSI and moving averages testify against you. The biggest symptom of overconfidence is bypassing your system. You no longer look for setups. You enter on a gut feeling because, brother, you are a pro now. But listen, the market does not care how much you made yesterday. It is waiting to catch your mistake today. And just one mistake is enough to wipe everything out. So how do we protect ourselves? Solution number 1. Winning streak humility. Every time you win 2 or 3 trades in a row, remind yourself this will not last forever. This is just momentum, not a permanent state. Ask yourself, did I take every trade according to my system? Did I place a logical stop loss? Did I make an entry in my journal? If the answer to any of these is no, then know that overconfidence has knocked on your door. Solution number 2. The risk freeze rule. When you are on a winning streak, do not increase your risk for the next 5 trades. No matter what happens, the risk remains the same. This will keep your mind grounded. Otherwise, your ego will say, double down. This is our game. And the market will say, come here, son, let's test you for real now. Solution number 3. Celebrate discipline, not profits. Making money is good, but the real victory is when every trade is executed within the boundaries of your rules. If you win but feel guilty thinking, I took a gamble, that wasn't a real setup, then you are becoming a true trader. Remember, A loss taken with discipline is far more valuable than a win fueled by overconfidence. The most crucial point: overconfidence is not cured by battling ego but by cultivating awareness. Whenever that inner voice says you are a master, now laugh. Actually laugh out loud. And tell yourself, thanks, ego, but I am still a student. Because the day you stop learning is the day the market will teach you a lesson in its own brutal style through a devastating loss. And yes, overconfidence is intricately connected to tilt. First you fly high, then arrogance sets in. And when you fall, that crash becomes unbearable, triggering revenge trading, and then the entire game is over. So friends, if after this point you feel even a slight hint of "I've been there," then you are genuinely growing. Because recognizing overconfidence is the beginning of true self-trust. Part 4. The frenzy, FOMO, and impatience of the story, however, is not over. The next adversary is the fear of missing out. Yes, that moment when you think, if I let this chance slip, then what? And you abandon your system to leap onto a candle that's already at its peak. FOMO is the virus that transforms a calm mind into a twitching, anxious mess, and from there a new ordeal begins. So you've recognized tilt and bid a cheerful goodbye to overconfidence. But now it's time for the enemy that doesn't whisper in your ear. It sits directly on your chest. Its name is FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's that very restlessness that emerges when a candle is racing away and your mind screams, if I miss this trend, that it. You jump onto the screen, shove your setup aside, and type into the order slip, buy. And the moment you hit that buy button, the candle reverses as if it came solely to mock you. Jared Tendler is clear: FOMO is not about the market. It's about your mindset. The market isn't going anywhere, but your mind is certainly running away. The irony of FOMO is that it always acts against logic. You tell yourself, this trade is risky now. I'm late. But the inner voice insists, come on brother, what if this is the start of a rocket ride? FOMO's real deception is that it shows you opportunities but steals your clarity. Your screen has everything: indicators, setups, strategy, but your eyes are only glued to that one candle that has already moved 3% in 5 minutes. Looking at it, you feel that if you miss this, you will regret it for life. The truth is, the trades you take in FOMO are the ones that make you regretful. Now understand that FOMO isn't only triggered by charts. It also comes from comparison. You open social media. Someone has posted a story, 18,000 to 50,000 in 6 minutes, and you immediately think, what am I even doing? Without a second thought, you jump on that candle's corpse and take a trade. But no one tells you that they waited in line for 3 hours to catch that move, and you just climbed onto the very last candle. So how do we escape this? The first rule: no setup, no trade. FOMO will tell you there's a small chance. Just take it. But you must tell yourself, if this opportunity doesn't fit my strategy, then it is not my opportunity. Discipline in trading means seeing 10 chances and trading only the one that belongs to you. Believe me, the market offers new opportunities every day, but your mind chases only the one that has already escaped. The second rule: wait for the pullback, not the hype. When a candle is racing, that is not the place to enter. It is the place to observe. The moment you see price soaring, tell yourself, good move. I will enter when the market invites me. If the market is a bus station, your ticket is your system. If you board without a ticket, you will be forced to exit through the emergency window. The third rule: journal your FOMO trades. Every time you trade out of FOMO, write it down. What did you see? Why did you panic? What did you feel you were missing? Should you have taken that entry? Then look at the result of that trade. 8 out of 10 times you will be at a loss. Seeing that pattern will make you say, brother, this FOMO is eating my bank balance. The most solid way to avoid FOMO is trust. Trust in yourself, trust in your system, trust in your process. Remember, trading is not about catching every move. It is about catching the right ones. You are not a fisherman trying to catch every single fish. You are a sniper. You only take the shot that is guaranteed, and FOMO never arrives alone. It brings with it its twin brother: impatience, that restlessness that asks, how long do I have to sit here? And from there begins the rush, the wrong entry, the wrong risk, and then the right loss. Part 5. The final boss is lack of confidence, perfectionism, and discipline. The journey continues through the treacherous terrain of lack of confidence, where you know what to do but cannot bring yourself to do it, frozen by the weight of past mistakes and self-doubt. Then you face the elegant trap of perfectionism, the demand for flawless setups that paralyzes you into inaction, causing you to miss genuine opportunities while you wait for an impossible 100% confirmation. And finally, you confront the subtle killer: lack of discipline. This is not a lack of knowledge but a failure of execution. It is the voice that says, I'm not in the mood today, or I'll start properly tomorrow. It's the chasm between knowing the path and walking the path. Jared Tendler reframes it: discipline isn't motivation. It's the ability to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. This is the muscle that forces you to act when your mind begs you to quit. Without it, all the knowledge in the world is useless. The antidote is to make execution binary: yes or no. Create non-negotiable rituals. Journal every violation, and aim not for perfect discipline but for 1% better each day. This small, consistent improvement is what will separate you from the crowd. Part 6. The grand finale, greed and revenge trading. Having built this foundation of discipline, you now face the most seductive and dangerous mental trap of all: greed. Jared Tendler explains, greed is not just about wanting more, it's about not knowing when to stop. This is where you hold a winning trade beyond your target, convinced the trend will last forever, only to watch your profit evaporate. It's where you double your lot size in a moment of euphoria, only to be slapped down by the very next trade. Greed's greatest trick is that it disguises itself as logic. You think you're making a rational decision, but in reality you are surrendering your control. The cure is to define your target before the trade and stick to it religiously after entry. Consider partial profit taking to satisfy the emotional need to exit while letting the rest of the position run. Most importantly, track the could have made more trades and see how often that thought led you to a loss. But the final, most destructive stage of the mental breakdown is revenge trading. This is when a loss wounds not just your capital but your ego. You are no longer trading to profit. You are trading to prove a point. You declare war on the market. But the market is not an opponent that loses. It is chaos that simply waits for you to lose control. Jared Tendler's warning is stark. The moment you try to prove something to the market, you have already lost. The market is a mirror. It reflects what is inside you: fear, anger, ego, or patience. It does not care about your previous trade. It has no memory. Its greatest strength is its utter indifference. The solution is a mandatory pause after every significant loss. Journal your rage. Create a revenge alert rule that automatically halves your position size after consecutive losses. Replace the desire for revenge with a commitment to reflection. Revenge will take you to zero. Reflection will make you a hero. Remember, you are not a warrior in front of the market. You are a monk in front of chaos. The market is not designed for you to fight it. It is designed for you to flow with it. The calmest trader is the greatest trader. Conclusion: the master's mindset. And so, friends, we conclude this journey through the mental game of trading. The enemy was never the market, the charts, or the indicators. The only adversary was your own mind. You have traveled from confusion to clarity, from fear to flow, from discipline to execution, and from ego to evolution. You are now the trader who creates a plan, follows it relentlessly, and has risen above the tyranny of fleeting feelings. But remember, the market remains. It will test you anew every single day. And every day you must win the battle against yourself. So the next time you open your chart, may you hold in your hand not just a mouse, but the sharpened sword of your mind. And when someone says trading is difficult, you will simply smile and reply, it is difficult, but I have already conquered my mind. The market can no longer defeat me. Thank you for listening to the mental game of trading. If this series has made you even a little stronger, sharper, and more silent, then just remember this: the real trade happens inside your mind. The charts are merely the excuse. If you felt that these truths struck a chord deep within, now is the time for action. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below on which point resonated most with you. And please share this audio with that friend who beats themselves up after every loss. I will see you in the next episode. Until then, thank you and trade wisely.